Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining us again today. This is our next Devon Education Services podcast. We've had some really great feedback from our Reach and our MASH podcasts that we'd really hope to spend some more time this year growing these bank of hopefully useful resources for you all today. Today, I am extremely lucky to have Paddy from the Devon Young Carers team with me today. Welcome, Paddy.
Hi, Caroline. Thanks for having me. Just to say, yeah, great resource you're having here. And yeah, thanks for the invite. Great to be here.
So thanks. First of all, I'd like to say it would be really helpful for our education settings to just get a really clear understanding of Devon Young Carers and also what sort of support that they can offer.
Of course, yeah. So we work and support young carers from the age of 4 years old through to the age of 17-year-olds. So that's the ones that look after or whose life is affected by a relative with a disability, an illness, mental health condition, or drug or alcohol problem. Any identified young carer, so that could be from school, it could be from a family member, it could be from a professional, that's recognised as a young carer, is entitled to a young carers assessment. This can be the first step for them to be recognised in a caring role or the impact that the caring role is having on them. Once the referral is made, we then make contact with the family to gain their consent, listen to their views, the impact of the caring role, and ask what support is needed. The assessment's an informal chat, so it's quite a child-focused, usually in an education setting, but it also can be at home, and it's to listen to what their caring role affects them by, and any needs or wants that they have. They are identified as a young carer. We then have 3 levels of support. The first is classed as getting advice. This is our universal service, which offers advice and signposting to the family, to their individual needs, which the majority of our young carers are placed at this level of support. The next level is what we class as getting help. This is for young carers that are unable to join or access clubs due to their caring role. So it's ones that don't have the chance to have social opportunities. We run our trips and activities in school holidays. This gives the young carers opportunity to meet other young carers in similar situations and share an experience and a well-deserved break from their caring role. So how that works is we are commissioned to run 9 activities throughout the year. We cater from all the young carers we look after, so from age 4 through to the age of 17, and the trips we run are in the school holidays, like I said, and they're kind of age and area appropriate, so they might have invites to something that's age appropriate within their area. Sometimes as a charity we are very kindly donated extras. We sometimes have trips or residential stays offered to us by other organisations. We've been quite lucky to go to Magdalen Farm and have a couple of residentials there. We go to a Young Carers Festival, which runs every year, which is a national festival for young carers. And I think last year there was around about 900 young carers, and we took a bunch of 11 or 12 young carers to be part of that, which is quite life-changing. And the last level of support that we offer is getting more help. So this provides one-to-one support over a set period of time, with one of our lead practitioners working on an action plan to support and help that young person, young carer, through their main concerns, worries or barriers related to their caring role. It's very specific to what's going on with each individual, obviously. So we work closely with schools, early help, and families, support our young carers and families with a whole family approach. We input into TAFs, child in need plans, child protection conferences, and so on.
That's so brilliant. Thank you, Paddy. That sounds such an amazing service and something that is really, really useful for all of our young people and families. So in terms of education specific support, so what can you as an organisation offer to support schools who are supporting children identified as young carers?
Yeah, so part of one of my roles, one of my older roles, was working with schools to promote and identify young carers that are registered with us. So that is in promoting the Young Carers in Schools Award. So schools can contact us firstly to request an up-to-date spreadsheet of their young carers. So if they're unsure of who they have as a registered young carer with Devon Young Carers, we can provide that list to them. That can just be a simple email to one of myself or my colleagues, just to ask for that to be sent through. We promote and encourage schools to support their young carers through running groups. We found that this is a really beneficial way of kind of alleviating young carers' worries, concerns, feeling isolated, feeling that they're alone as a young carer. When we do a young carers assessment, we usually talk about, do they know of any other young carers? And the answer is usually no. But when you explain that there's probably, sometimes between 30 to 40, sometimes more at different secondary schools and smaller numbers in primary, it really kind of like, I don't know, it feels like the load's lightened on their shoulders. So we tried to promote that to kind of just get that friendships going, or at least recognizing other young carers within their school. We've actually found that research shows that young carers attain 1 grade lower than their peers, unfortunately. And a great way to help this is having to have a good understanding of what's going on for the young carers. We've kind of run young carers councils in the past, where we'd get the young carers together and listen how they would feel more supported in various ways at home and education. And usually education is for school to have an understanding of what's going on with their with their caring role and the impact this has. And like we said, there's another award you can apply for, which is the Young Carers in Schools Award. This kind of looks at how to support the young carer in multiple ways, whether it be groups, notice boards, and just make them kind of feel that they're supported when at school.
Brilliant, lovely. So in terms of, I think the Excel spreadsheet, schools should be getting in contact with you guys to get that information, which I think is really brilliant, and schools can be sharing those names to their vulnerable children list, so they can really better monitor those children and make sure they're getting the best that they can, and equally really thinking about that Young Carers in School Award as a really great way of evidencing all the great things they're doing in their settings. Okay, so let's talk referrals. So if school do identify a young carer within their setting and they currently don't have any support as a young carer, what should the schools do?
Yeah, so as soon as they've identified that they are a young carer, they can make a referral to us. So the referral process is on our website. So if they go to our website, which I'm happy to share, it will have a link to our referral form, which then gives an email address to email it in. There is talk of us having a live referral process, so that actually might be in the process as we speak. That might be coming into play. So there might be a live document rather than sending in a form. But either way, get the referral into us. And once we've got the referral, consent must be gained from the family. So what we do is then contact the family, have a little chat with them, introduce ourselves, talk about the caring role, the impact it's having on the young person, kind of have an understanding from the parents' point of views or guardians' point of views, and go from there.
Brilliant. Okay, so I'm aware of the research out there that suggests that young carers, that the amount of young carers within a school setting, the ones that are known, are just the tip of the iceberg, and that schools probably have a lot more young carers with caring responsibilities that they don't even know about. Do you have any advice or top tips on what schools can do to try and identify all of their children?
Yeah, for sure. So awareness raising is such a powerful tool. And it's quite a tricky one to do. So we've actually come up, I think, just after lockdown with an awareness raising video, which is on our website. There's 2 videos, one that is child focused and one more for adults and professionals. And it's just to kind of, the first one's to give young people that kind of understanding of what a young carer might be. It can be used in assemblies, tutor time, shared with families, and it might just be that a young person sees that and recognizes themselves as a young carer, or it could be a friend. And then the other one, again, for professionals and family members, just again to kind of have a little think about it, because a lot of people don't realize they're young carers until they kind of have the conversation. So it can be a really handy tool.
Brilliant, lovely, thanks Paddy. I think one thing that schools would be keen to hear from you is what else can or should they be doing within their settings to support their young carers? Are you familiar with any sort of good practice that you've seen in other schools, or do you have any suggestions that young carers have shared with you?
Yeah, I would say great practice is identifying young carers, as we spoke about. So it's actually not just having them on a spreadsheet, but getting to know them, making them feel understood, and giving them the place to come and speak and meet with other young carers and professionals as well. Some schools run bi-monthly young carers groups, others monthly, half-termly, however it works. But just knowing that they've got someone that understands their caring role, or the impact that their caring role has on them, just gives them such a lift of their concerns and worries, and just a friendly face to be able to talk to. I think that's really beneficial for them.
Brilliant, thank you. Thanks, Paddy. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. It's been really helpful to hear all about the great work that you're doing with Devon Young Carers, and to also see how we in education can better support our young carers. Information about Devon Young Carers, including website links and contact details, can be found on this presentation, so schools can make contact directly. Thanks again, Paddy.
My pleasure, and thank you, Caroline. Yeah, thanks for the invitation. It's a really handy platform you're doing here for awareness sharing. I fully promote it, and I think you're doing a great job. Any questions young carer related, feel free to get in contact with myself or with the Young Carers Award. We're a small team that covers the whole of Devon, but we look to aim to support all the young carers and professionals working with young carers. So give us a shout.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Paddy.
Cheers.